Warriors are done. No more titles. We're all just going to watch Steph play amazing while the team around him sucks. And how do I know this? Because Steph himself said it. Steve Kerr's flat out given up, and I know that sounds insane, but in 1 week, Kerr, Steph, and Draymond gave interviews waving the white flag. So I want to show you these wild statements, but also why it's a lie. We know why the Dubs are saying that they're giving up because of a secret plan behind closed doors. So the season started 12-3, looked like Thunder, Rockets, Golden State top of the West. But since then, they're 8-17. Only West teams worse are the Blazers, Jazz, and awful Pelicans. The offense and defense have cratered around Steph. How? Well, one big thing is Buddy Hield. Dude looked like prime Klay Thompson at first, hitting 43% from downtown. Since then, just 33%. For example, dude bricked 2 huge threes down the stretch in Toronto. I know that last one was guarded, but the first one wide open. Also, Brandon Podziemski has taken a step back, and Jonathan Kuminga has not taken a giant step forward when he's healthy. Basically, they are the same crappy team around Steph, who needs him to play like an MVP just to get a win. The other night in Minnesota, Steph played 37 minutes just to eke out a 1-point victory. And anytime that dude has to play more minutes than his age, it's a bad sign. So big trade rumors, right? But we are well into 2025. All my New Year's resolutions haven't exactly panned out. I get stressed. Life happens, so it helps to have someone to talk to. Well, I've gotten help with therapy, and today's sponsor, BetterHelp, can be a lifeline. BetterHelp is fully online therapy, making it both comfortable and convenient. I wanted to vet them for this channel, so I signed up for BetterHelp myself and had a great experience with a therapist. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire, and BetterHelp matches you with a therapist in as little as a couple of days. They've got a diverse network of 30,000 plus licensed professionals with a wide range of specialties. And the cool thing about online is you can easily switch to find the right therapist for you, which is super common in the real world, but a lot less awkward to do online. They carefully make sure that therapists are well qualified, and their customer support team is there to help if you have any questions. So start fresh any day of the year with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/amhoops and get 10% off your first month of therapy. First, Lowry Markkanen, then Paul George over the summer. The Athletic said in November, rival execs believe the Warriors are more willing than ever to include Jonathan Kuminga in a trade, and one name to monitor is Jimmy Butler. Oh man. Then suddenly, nothing. Why? Because after losing in Toronto, Steph said this.
Desperate trades or desperate moves that deplete the future, like there is a responsibility keeping the franchise when it, in a good space and good spot when it comes to where we leave this thing when we're done. It doesn't mean that you're not trying to get better. It doesn't mean that you're desperate, just flinging assets all around the place. We understand we're getting older and allowing some of the young guys to kind of blossom. It doesn't mean you're getting desperate.
And oh, the reactions. Ring number 5 is officially off the table. Curry is clearly content with 4. Otherwise, he'd be pushing for them to make moves. Oh, but wait until that guy hears what Steve Kerr said. Makes Steph sound like LeBron. But a couple days before, Draymond said, Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, and myself disagree with mortgaging the future of this organization, saying that we're going for it right now. Bad teams do that. Bad organizations do that. We're not neither one. Now, never mind the double negative. I got what he was saying. But Draymond, who is a psychopath competitor, is saying this. Well, Steve Kerr is next level.
So now, here we are, and we're on the decline. We know that. It's a young man's game. It would be so irresponsible for this franchise to trade everything away for one final swing at a title. I think you have to know where you are.
Oh, poor little Warriors. We were good, but those days are over. Bullshit. All 3 of those guys are lying to our face. And I don't think it was a coincidence that it all happens within a few days of each other. Here's why it's a lie. First, what is the future that they're so afraid to mortgage? A team like the Rockets have a future, the good young OKC Thunder. The Warriors, November 18, 2020, made one of the worst draft picks in recent history. Number 2, James Wiseman, who was off the team 3 years later. They could have had LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey. Instead, a bust. Then, 1 year later, they took Jonathan Kuminga over Franz Wagner and Moses Moody over Alperen Şengün. The opposite of this was the Spurs, who won ring number 5 because they found Kawhi Leonard in the draft. But 3 terrible decisions by ex-GM Bob Myers screwed this franchise. Just the decision to draft in the first place was bad. They don't have a future to mortgage because of that. Oh, but if you listen to Steph, the 2-timeline plan worked. Oh, we can't sell off these young guys who are blossoming, which is an actual word that Steph said. Yeah, if the future was so bright, why didn't you extend Jonathan Kuminga this offseason? Yeah, the dude was up for a new contract. Could have locked him in for years to come. But the Warriors were like, yeah, we're gonna need to see a little more from you. What happened to the future that you're trying to protect? That got screwed the moment Myers made those picks. Hey, back when they had Jerry West in the front office, they made picks like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, but I digress. No, the real reason that they aren't gonna make a trade is there's no trade to make. And if there was one, they don't want to come off as desperate, right? So all 3 of these guys are in the media saying, oh, we don't really need to make a trade to protect leverage. And I don't normally believe tabloid newspapers, but this one actually made sense. A source inside Golden State told the Daily Mail, Steph doesn't want drastic changes, but behind closed doors, the Warriors are all in on making something huge happen. The reality is very different behind closed doors. Of course it is. And when Steph says, don't just fling assets around, he doesn't care about the Warriors' future. He cares about his own future with a massive trade down the road. So look at the trade market right now. Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal are the big players. Come on. Then you got Nikola Vucevic, Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas, Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Clarkson, guys like that. Steph is basically saying, yeah, I don't think any of those guys could make us a championship team. Even Jimmy. He wants the Dubs to be patient instead. Hold all the assets for a major trade, like a Giannis or someone like that. So for Steve Kerr to frame it as, oh, Steph and Draymond, they just care about the Warriors' future. And Steph's like, well, we have to leave the franchise in a good place, is a lie. If Giannis or someone like that was available, dude, they would gut the whole thing in a second. They don't care. They just don't think that any of these players is worth it. They don't think 1 or even 2 of those guys can fix all their problems. They want us to think they're selfless, looking out for the team. Yeah, getting ring number 5 is looking out for the team. So let's look at the Dubs draft assets as compared to a team like the Suns. So after getting Nick Richards from Charlotte, Phoenix has a second in 2026, then have to wait all the way till 2031 for a first rounder. They also have 2 seconds that same year, but Golden State stacked with tradable first and second rounders. Every first outside of 2030. They could get almost anyone. So why not Kevin Durant? I know that he got hated on for winning in Golden State 2017, 2018, but this could bandage that whole narrative. Like, can you imagine if KD returned to save Steph Curry? And right now the Suns are garbage with no way out. And remember, Durant did not sign an extension in Phoenix last offseason. He had a chance, but he said, no, I'm going to see how this goes. Well, right now it's pretty bad. So the Warriors would get KD for Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, and just 1 first-round pick. And it only takes 1 because Wiggs and JK have real value. This would immediately put the Warriors in that second tier just below OKC in the West. But even the Thunder would be scared to face Steph and KD in the postseason. Even more pressure on the Warriors when you think about Kuminga. Because they didn't extend him in the offseason, he is a restricted free agent this summer. That means someone can swoop in and pay him the max or close to the max like the Nets or the Wizards. And would the Dubs match that or have to let him walk for nothing? That would be a disaster. So either trade Kuminga or extend him now. So no, the Warriors are not done. They just don't see anything that they love right now, and they are going to mortgage that future in a heartbeat when the right deal comes around. But who else is lying? Nikola Mirotic. The entire NBA wanted this man, and then he took off back home to Europe. And his first explanation why was false. The actual truth came out years later.